This magnificent piece is a very rare survival from the Anglo Sikh Wars. It's one of only a handful that survive out of several hundred artillery pieces that were deployed against the British. It's a very rare opportunity to see this, probably about the first time in well over 100 years that this has been on public show. It was originally made in about 1838 in Lahore by Punjabi craftsmen, and it was a ceremonial piece intended to overawe visitors at presumably diplomatic negotiations over the future of Afghanistan that occurred in that year. We know from the decoration on it that it was probably intended for the Fauji Caste, the Royal Brigade, Maharaja Ranjit Singh's household troops. But despite its ceremonial, very ornate look, this is actually a fully functional weapon system. It's also the most advanced artillery weapon system of the early 19th century. Effectively, it's very much like the cruise missile of its period. This is a gun howitzer, and this is as good as it gets. Unlike a cannon, which fires directly in front where you can aim it, this is an indirect fire weapon. This capstan operates this very deep screw, and when it's in position, it elevates the barrel high up, which enables it to fire over the heads of friendly troops. And it doesn't fire solid round shot, it fires explosive shells, which are designed to burst over the heads of enemy troops. And it is lethal up to 1,200 yards, 2/3 of a mile. So on a good wind, anything within a mile of here is fair game of this particular weapon system. There were probably around 50 employed during the First Sikh War, and about the same again during the Second Sikh War, which is about, in the same proportion, 10 to 20% of all the artillery that was used in the Sikh army, and that's comparable with what the East India Company were using at the time. This had a crew of between 10 and 12 personnel. They're all highly skilled, highly trained, because this is a very complicated weapon system to operate. There would be between 5 and 6 personnel physically operating the gun, and then support personnel whose job was to help bring up ammunition and bring up supplies. The two most precarious jobs in the team were reserved for the two gunners who, when this was being brought into action, had to sit here. You see this gun presented as if it was limbered up, that is, ready to go. So it's coupled up to this ammunition box, which holds about enough ammunition for about half an hour's fighting, and that is coupled up to a team of 6 to 8 horses. Now the whole thing is designed to go in that direction, so these guys, their sole job is to get off at the appropriate time, run around and unhook from this limber hook here, and then with these carrying handles, spin the whole thing around 180 degrees so that it's pointing in the direction of the enemy. And then the whole team would get around. This ammunition wagon would be brought around the back, the boxes would be taken off, and then they'd get set up ready for battle. In terms of operating the gun, there would be 2 chaps positioned either side of the front of the gun, 2 behind the gun, at the wheels there, and there would be a gun captain at the very least. There'd also be a chap whose sole job was to provide ammunition. Now this, as I said, fires exploding shells. The shells themselves would look a little bit like this. This is a model. So it's basically a hollow metal sphere packed with gunpowder. It has a wooden sabot. It's effectively a gasket. The idea is to make sure that it fits snugly down the barrel of the gun. And behind that, it would have a canvas bag with 2 pounds of gunpowder. And the whole thing was wrapped together so you could load the whole thing in one fluid motion down the barrel of the gun. But, as I've said, it's packed full of explosive. It also has to have a fuse inserted. Now, when it's fired, you have to make sure that the fuse lights. That's automatically done when it fires out of the barrel. But the fuse has to be timed so that it goes over the heads of the enemy. So the gun captain will have to aim the gun, so he'll order minute adjustments using the traversing lever, just slewing the gun slightly around, and he'll aim using the elevating screw and line up the gun with the gun sights at the front and the back here, and he can guesstimate how far the range is through experience and through the use of gunnery tables. And he'll be able to say to his fellow, I need a 5-second fuse. The guy would trim or operate a 5-second fuse, place it in the shell, and then the whole thing would be brought round, and then the two loaders will then fit this down the barrel. Now, we're dealing with gunpowder here, which is highly explosive. It's designed to be, but every time this gun fires, it has to be swabbed out for safety reasons to make sure that there are no embers inside the barrel that can set off the next charge with catastrophic results. So what they do is they use this sponge here on this long pole, and they dip it in water in the bucket at the front, and then they swab it out. Now, because this is effectively a large piston, they have to make sure that the hole here is sealed. Otherwise, it sucks in oxygenated air into this barrel, and it could potentially cause catastrophic failure, or it can kill the loaders. So, having done all of that, the next round is pushed in, and they have to insert a fuse. Once the ammunition is prepped and ready, they have to stand back. They use this thing, which is called a port fire, that has a length of prepared match, and the whole thing is like a giant cigarette holder. It's designed so that you can stand back outside the range of the wheels, reach in and fire the gun. When you touch off that gun, the entire thing will lurch back this far, about a wheel length. And then all of the gunners will come in and they'll manhandle the thing back into position to refire it. Now, the best trained teams are very much like a Formula One pit crew. They could do this in 20 seconds. So they could get off 2 to 3 rounds a minute firing at the enemy. They used French drill commands, and they had 3. They had charger, en action to get ready, charger to load, and feu to fire. Thereafter, they kept going until they were told to stop.